Hello? Can you hear me? Weak. Yeah. Can you speak a little louder? Hello? I can't seem to hear you. Hello? Fiona, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please, there's on your right a private chat. Can you type and respond that you can hear me? Oh, but okay. Could you just check your microphone? Maybe try plugging in and plugging out again. Keep trying. Have you tried to plug out and plug and plugged in again? Okay.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I can hear you finally. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Yes, I can
I
hear
can
you now.
hear you. Am I clear?
Yes, you're clear now.
Okay, I'm not using the mic. I'm not using the
Oh, you're not?
headsets. I'm not using the loudspeaker.
I can hear you now. Maybe there was a problem with your headset.
Am I clear?
Yes, you're clear.
Okay, so we go with that. I think we leave the headsets alone.
Probably. As we wait for Felix to join. Felix should be joining us shortly.
Okay.
I am the producer, so I can't really go on camera yet. I won't be going on camera. As soon as he joins, I will tune out.
Okay.
Do you mind if we go live as we wait for Felix?
No problem. Hello? Still there?
Okay. Good morning. Fiona, you can hear me? Fiona, you can hear me? Good morning. Fiona, can you hear me? We seem to be still having a problem with our guest. But a very good morning to all of you who have joined us today for our weekly ACFIM Talks live virtual show. My name is Felix Kafuma, your usual host. I'll be with you for the next 1 hour. We are slightly late by about 5 minutes, but should be able to redeem that time. Today, I'm privileged to host.
Okay.
I'm privileged to host.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, Fiona, loud and clear. You're most welcome. You're most welcome to ACFIM Talks. Fiona, can you hear us? Okay, as we work out the technicalities of getting Fiona to be part of this show, allow
Okay,
me
thank you.
in the meantime to introduce her.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Wow, yeah, finally we can have you on set. Thank you, Fiona. You can hear us well. Great. Yes, you are most welcome to ACFIM Talks. Yes, a very good morning once again to all our online viewers and listeners. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us this Saturday morning, where we host a number of individuals to discuss nothing other than money in politics and electoral democracy at large. My name is Felix Kafuma. I'll be your host, and in the studio today, I'm privileged to host Fiona Mirembe. She's contesting for the highest office of the land. She'll be able to tell us how far with the process. She's a lawyer, and she's the managing partner of Mirembe and Company Advocates. And I think I first heard about her in 2019 or 2018, where she made her intentions clear that she was going to contest. So that's not a mean feat. Yes, and she has no political experience, but she has the determination to contest and run for presidency. Fiona, once again, you are most welcome to be part of this discussion.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Felix, for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here.
Good. Let's start it off. What really motivated you to contest for the highest office in the land?
What pushed me to do that is really me looking at how things were running in the country. It doesn't take you too much time to realize that things are not running very well in this country. So much is going wrong. And it doesn't look like our politicians are either intentional on putting it right, or they are willing to put in the effort to put it right. For me, it looks to me that they are more selfish about this whole thing than they are intentional about being servants of the people of Uganda. So for me, I came to give servant leadership to this country, to say I'm putting my country first, then I'll come second. But when you look at our politicians right now, what they seem to be doing is to put themselves first, and then for us we come last. So for me, that's what really pushed me. And even in my legal practice, I have seen so much injustice happening at the hand of politicians. And I'm saying maybe Uganda should stop um, being led by politicians. And now we have leaders taking care of Uganda, people who are selfless enough to say, you know what, I am putting my country above my needs. I'm putting Uganda before me. That's what
Wow.
inspired me.
Interesting, and that's an interesting inspiration. I think US has had a fair share of a president who's not a politician equally. So I understand where you're coming from. And true, I think your background as a lawyer has given you an opportunity to address injustices that you've seen, probably propagated by politicians. That's a good angle, and probably to just to be sure, have you been able to fulfill the requirements to be nominated? Monday and Tuesday are nomination days. Which day of the week should we expect you?
Possibly I'll come in Tuesday because I've not yet got my certificate of verification from the Electoral Commission, but hopefully it will come in today or tomorrow. And once it comes in, then we'll go and pay the 20 million shillings that we're required to pay the back to the Electoral Commission, and then we should be able to be nominated. It looks like Monday has been taken by the people who came in first, so most possibly I'll be coming in on Tuesday.
Okay. We're looking forward to seeing you being nominated. I will come back to discuss the issues around the nomination fees, the 20 million shillings, which was a bit highly contested at some point, and how that excludes participation. But to pick it up from there, quickly, speaking of your presidential ambitions, how have you been able to mobilize resources for you to run, including the nomination fees? Because that is not a cheap venture. How have you mobilized resources, or how do you plan to mobilize resources and contest?
Being that I am a newbie to this whole process, I don't think that it would be wise for me to spend as much as the people who have been there have spent. Why? It is wisdom to start with a little. You don't jump into a pool with your 2 feet if you don't know how deep it is. It is only wise for me to stake only that I can stake. And in any case, I believe that life will call you to the table and will only use what is in your hands. Life doesn't tell you to go and borrow to pursue your dreams. No, it will use what you have in your hands. When I came out and said I wanted to be president, I said 2018, 19, I think it's 18. We've been at it for about 2 years. I have been mobilizing and then preparing myself psychologically, emotionally for this feat that I'm coming for. So I had put together some funds. That's why I have not gone out fundraising. Why? Because when someone I want to do a new venture, you are money. So you know that being a newbie, I can't convince people as well as President Museveni would convince people to give him money. So I have had that at the back of my mind and said, okay, this is me. If I'm telling Uganda that I can come and sacrifice myself for the leadership, I should. I'm not taking you if I can.
Your connection seems to be breaking on and off. I don't know. Okay. We are having a poor connection from your end.
My finances, my time, my, if I can sacrifice on the table, then possibly I can put my country first. So basically what I have been doing is to put in my own money, and I think I've only run to just one friend, who has held this thing together for me.
Okay, Fiona, just to be sure I didn't miss your point, most of your sources right now have been basically self-financing, and just a couple of friends, one or two, who have supported you to fundraise resources for you to be able to run. Sorry, I'm going to ask this. What is your budget? The reason why I'm raising this question is that we've conducted a study and we have estimated that, for example, for an MP to run for the 2021 elections, you will spend not less than 500 million. And we're discussing now an MP. So when you're a presidential candidate, aspirant as you are, who is expected to traverse the country in the shortest period, probably 2 months or under 2 months, how are you going to work within the resources you have? What is in your chest? How much do you have you put aside? Okay, viewers, allow us to take a short break so that we can fix the problem of connection from the end of Fiona. Let's take a quick break for in about 2 or 3 minutes. We shall be resuming.
COVID-19 lockdown has left us poor. Money from candidates won't make you rich. Do not be desperate. Focus on issues, not money. Often money used in campaigns is dirty money. Do you know its source? Corruption, mafia, drug trafficking, human trafficking, theft from national budget, self-seeking foreigners, selfish businessmen, selfish money lenders. Don't abandon your duty. Elect quality leadership, not big spenders. The monster of money politics is eating up Uganda's democracy. When you take money from a candidate, it means you are feeding the monster. Then you become a part of the problem. When a candidate who overspends on campaigns is elected, he or she will not represent voters but himself. He or she will engage in corruption to recover campaign money. Social services will not be delivered and the voter will suffer more. Voter, let's be wise. Give democracy a chance. Do not sell your vote. Focus on the issue.
Mm-hmm. No.
Sorry, I don't understand what's
Really,
wrong with my laptop.
COVID-19 lockdown has left us poor. Money from candidates won't make you rich. Do not be desperate. Focus on issues, not money. Often money used in campaigns is dirty money. Do you know its source? Corruption, mafia, drug trafficking, human trafficking, theft from national budget, self-seeking foreigners, selfish businessmen, selfish money lenders. Don't abandon your duty. Elect quality leadership, not big spenders.
You managed? You in?
I put my email address.
Okay, welcome back, our online viewers. Sorry about that technical hiccup. We've been having a problem of connection from the end of our host, but now we are back. I think we should be up and running until for the next 30 minutes uninterrupted. Fiona, you can hear us now loud and clear. Is it a better connection? Fiona, can you hear us? Make sure you're speaking through the mic. We can see you, but we can't hear you, Fiona. Hello? Are you sure your headphones are working properly? Fiona, check your headsets. Fiona, check your headsets, please. Okay. Yes, we are going to continue to have this conversation. We are looking at financing presidential campaigns. In studio with us, we have Fiona Mirembe. She's running for the first time. She's probably, if I'm not mistaken, she could be the youngest contestant if she gets nominated. At 32 years of age, she's a lawyer by profession, and she has just been sharing with us that politicians have let down the country. They are more self-seeking as opposed to being servants. And she promises to bring servanthood if she's elected. And her experiences as a lawyer has exposed her to a number of injustices, and that partly motivated her to join politics and to aim for the highest office. And we are discussing how she intends to finance her campaigns, her presidential bid. And I was sharing briefly that our studies have already pointed to the fact that for an MP to contest this time round, you will not need less than 500 million Uganda shillings. In 2016, we did this, we tracked campaign spending at presidential and parliamentary level. And for sure, the amount spent for people to be elected were in excess of 300 million. Come 2021, which is a couple of months away, we don't expect that figure to go any less, probably double. And also depending on the competition that a specific constituency opposition attracts, people might even be spending in excess of 1 billion. That's how commercialized our politics has become. That's how to monetize the politics has become. And the downside of that is that it's very difficult to have a leader who has invested all that money known to have ulterior motives. It will be very difficult to have, for example, a parliament that is really responsive to the needs, to the aspirations of the electorate. When we start to discuss the state of our service delivery, when we start to discuss the quality of legislation, when we start to discuss the quality of parliament, the quality of debate on the floor of parliament, the leaders we get, you cannot start to distance yourself from the process through which we get those leaders. And this process, when it is marred by a lot of money to cloud judgment, to induce decision, to influence electoral outcomes, it becomes an inevitable to be in a situation where you have self-seeking leaders and the electorate which is on its own, which I like to call political orphans. If we can have Fiona back, we would want to have this conversation on how she plans to mobilize our resources. She had told us that for now, the bigger part of our resources has been self-financing. Already she has to pay 20 million for nominations, and then she has to pay for the publicity expenses, and then she has to pay for the coordination expenses. She has to put together a team. She has to have returning people who will be able to, the polling agents across the country. Now that we are talking about 70 or 60% of campaigns being via media because of COVID, she has to pay for the media. When you look at that expense that she faces, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a young person who is 32 years to have raised and compete. And without money, the money I'm talking about is exclusive of the money you give voters. Because we all know that our voters have changed. Their expectations and their motivation to participate in the electoral process has changed. They are equally transactional in nature. Fiona, good to have you back. Can you now hear us?
I can hear you properly. Can you hear me?
You are loud and clear. Let's pick it up from there. I was asking a question here, which I'm very interested to hear your answer, is that how much have you put aside for this fate? Because it's not cheap to contest for presidency. You are supposed to reach out to all the parts of the country, including my grandmother, deep in the village. Yes, Fiona. What is our working budget here?
Yes. The working budget, I don't want to give you an exact figure, but even before we pay the 20 million of the Electoral Commission, you find that just the process of collecting signatures as a need, we have spent about over 50 million shillings just collecting signatures, because along the way we are making mistakes that would not have made had we known the process before. I'm thinking now that I know what I know, it would be a lot cheaper if I did it again. But since I was doing it for the first time, there's so much I didn't know that I had to spend on that I wouldn't have spent on if I had known. So we have spent quite a bit of money, but for me, I call it school fees. For those that know me, that's the term I like to use. You pay to learn. So I have paid to learn a few things that I would not have done if I had known better. But as a newbie, of course, it's expected. It's expected. We have spent over so far. And now we are going to spend the 20 million for the Electoral Commission, for the nomination fees. So we are around there. Yeah. I've had other courts spent as much as 100 million even before the nomination fees. It's been a lot of money, but for me, I believe if it's a cause that you believe in, go and do it with everything in you. It doesn't matter if you don't leave one coin on your bank account. Do the best that you can. Because for me, this I'm not doing for myself. I really would be happy to go back home and not be a president and stay a lawyer, because I really enjoy what I'm doing. But I think is my country. Where is my country going if I stand up and say, you know what, I am here and I can do something better for my country? Then who else will? Because most of us are looking at an situation that, you know what, President Museveni has been here long enough. He cannot be defeated. We have resigned. So for me, I'm saying no. I'm not going to resign to my fate. I'm going to come and help my country with the little that I have for my country. Then possibly I'll be selfless enough, while trusted with power. And I'm coming to get it. I always say I'm coming. I'm not joking. I don't drain my bank account to joke. So I hope Ugandans can recognize my sacrifice and vote wisely.
Interesting. Fiona, as of now, she's still keeping keeping the figures of our chest close to her chest. We shall know as we move along. Have you faced any challenges in trying to fundraise for resources? Have you tried fundraising for resources? If you have you faced any challenges?
I have not fundraised at all, and it has been intentional. Reasons. One, I know that one of the reasons that President Museveni is having challenges is that there are people who helped him along the way to become president, and he feels indebted to them. So they can get away with anything they do, because it feels like they shouldn't be touched. They helped him while he was in the bush. For me, I have come out and said, you know what, I'm not going to be compromised by anyone just because they gave me money. If you feel like giving me money, thank you very much. I'll take it. But let me tell you that whether you give me or you don't give me money, I am here to fight for my country, and I'm going to do it with the resources in my hands. And to conspire with me. I'm not going to let people give me money and they compromise my principles once I get into the rooms of power. No. If you want, give me money against my.
Wow, interesting. Thank you. You are touching something that we've been making noise about for a long time. The issue of source of money and the intentions for people who are willing to support or finance candidates. In there, the issues around quid pro quo, and I think we're going to have a discussion at some point where we try to see what is the practical way forward.
Because M7 didn't have as many avenues to get money while it was sitting.
Yes. Now, Fiona, there is this, one of the biggest challenges of contesting right now for any position is the behavior of voters, the electorate.
I didn't get.
I'm saying one of the biggest challenges of contesting for any candidate right now is the behavior of voters, in the sense that most voters, when they treat the campaign season as harvest season, their expectations from candidates is probably more towards money and household items. Even when you are articulating a very good manifesto, you are presenting what you plan to do for them, and you are the best candidate. They will not relate with you or listen to your manifesto. It will all boil down to how much you can give them in terms of handouts, in terms of money, in terms of household items. How can we change this narrative? How do you plan to overcome this challenge? Because it's a reality. You cannot stand before the electorate and talk good English and present a very good manifesto, and you do not leave something behind. What they are now calling it sanitizer. You don't leave sanitizer behind. How do you plan to overcome this challenge? And how can we change this?
Okay. Yes, I know that politics in Uganda has been largely commercialized, which is very unfortunate. Now, for me, I don't like to look at my challenges and respect them, because then to what end? The challenges are always going to be there. There's a commercialized atmosphere we have in Uganda where the electorate wants money before they do something. Can I change the whole of Uganda to think that they really don't have to need money to vote? No, I can't do that at this point. But still, me, I always believe in life. Life is very interesting. If you come to life with your idea, life will buy it and it will liaise with you to achieve what you want. So for me, I also say that I can't change what I fit in with. You can't change something that you yourself do, that you fit in with. If we are changing the idea of politics to become commercialized, then we don't have to dwell and to play the same game. So for me, I'm saying I'm not going to commercialize my bid for the presidency. No, I'm going to come and tell you, this is what I can do for you. And I will trust that you resonate with me. I'll trust that you resonate with me. You know something? Resonate with good. Resonate with good. And that's the best I can do. What do I have on the table is a heart that beats for my country. That one I have. And I'm going to say exactly that. Am I going to be the electorate? No, I will not do what my predecessors have done, because that's not the right thing to do. That's us digging a grave for ourselves. So what I'm going to do is to come with a good intention, and to tell people that I'll come and support. And that's where I end. I don't have to go too far past what I can manage. No, I'm going to do what I can do, and then I'll trust life to take its course. Because at the end of the day, water flows. You just have to come to life with the best of intentions, and you trust that life will liaise with you. I've seen it on several occasions where you don't believe that this will happen, but if you're well intended, life is a way for you. So I'm trusting that life will get a way for me. I have done my best. That one I am sure, and I am very proud of myself. So next is to let the water flow. And like Ugandans, next election, water has to flow. You know, water has to flow. The best, we shall have a good candidate winning this election. I'm confident.
Wow. Wow, interesting indeed. I like the confidence that you have, but I'm also inspired by the fact that you are not necessarily going to go with the flow of throwing money to voters so that they can elect you. I think at some point we need to get out of the situation which we are in right now of having and encouraging commercialized politics, where instead of voting ideas, voting capabilities, voting integrity, we vote money. But I want to come back to the issue of financing of politics, all financing of political candidates. I remember, ideally, in any political party or any candidate who is contesting is supposed to be supported by the people who believe in him or her as the best alternative. So instead of voters, or instead of the people subscribing to a party, or people who are supporting that candidate, contribute towards his or her campaign, is the other way around. First of all, can we change this? How can we ensure that I want to see a Fiona on the campaign trail, and it is people who are believing in you contributing towards your campaigns, as opposed to people expecting you to give them? How do we change the narrative? Because that's the normal way of playing politics. What are your views? What should be done?
Okay, first of all, can you hear me? I've switched to my headset. I want to confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Please confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you, Fiona. I think we've lost you again.
Candidate to support them financially to through their election, through their campaigns and all that stuff. The situation is a bit peculiar. My situation is that I am a newbie. I will speak for myself. I don't know about the rest. Being a newbie, it is difficult. Look at yourself. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, proceed.
Okay. You're hearing me? Kindly.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Like I was telling you about the electorate financing the candidate. Yes, that's the ideal situation, especially if you've been around, especially we're coming through political parties. Political parties, they stay for the long haul. So usually they do the preliminaries for this candidate before the candidate actually comes to stand. Now, look at all of us who are independent, the number of independents in the race, and most of them are newbies. Where are they going to? How are they going to convince the electorate that barely knows them to give them money? I have had my own fair share of this. You can't even have your client and then sit them down and say, you know what, I'm standing for presidency, please finance my campaign. You know what they respond like? They're thinking, okay, Fiona, you have been a very good lawyer to us. Now you're starting this stuff, you're starting this dangerous game called politics. They will give you an ear to know they're not really a politician and you're not here to politic. No, they don't listen to that. What they think is, oh my goodness, you're going to mess yourself up. You're going to mess us up, clients. So there's no way you can't even approach your clients, let alone your family, to say, you know what, people, I am going to stand, because they don't believe in you. So the best thing is usually it's like a new business venture. If you come up with a new business idea and you go to your family and you say, you know what, you people, I have to start up something. Very few people are going to money. If I'm wrong, if I am actually right. Even among your friends, yet. So me, I've said I'm not waiting for people to believe in me. I believe in myself. And that's enough. That's enough.
Yes,
How much
true.
money do I have on my bank account? Quite a little money. I'm going to start with that. And then I've intentionally not reached out to my friends for money because I don't want present is Fiona, use what you have in your hands. Once you move significantly, everyone will throw money at you. Right now, it's difficult to get that money because no one believes that you can trounce. But for me, I believe that I can trounce him, and I don't want to listen to anything. I don't want to listen to anyone derailing me, telling me you can't. And why have I got my little money and drained my bank account for this? Is because I know that I can do it. I'm not waiting for permission from anyone. I'm not waiting for anyone to believe in me. I am just going and saying, let me stake this, and life will conspire with me.
All right. Yes, you can, Fiona, indeed. I love the self-belief that you have when you are making a go at this highest office in the of the land. Indeed, we would want to see and follow Jan's how this pans out. Quickly, I'm already admiring the fact that you have a problem with the nature of our politics as is now being commercialized. And let's hypothetically assume that you've been elected the president of Uganda after the elections, because all is possible, all things are possible. Will you support a law that puts in place requirements for political candidates to disclose their sources of campaign money? For example, a law that looks at allows reporting by the candidates on how they have utilized that money, and that reporting is open to public scrutiny. Will you also allow or support a law that also proposes or looks at putting a cap, a limit on campaign spending? In doing all this, to sanitize, to reduce the amount of money used in electoral politics. Because there are voices out there who believe that ideally, one way, not entirely, but one way to go in addressing the problem of too much money in our electoral politics is through a law that mainly looks at those three areas: disclosing source, putting a cap on how much is used, and compelling the candidates to report on how they have used the money and allowing the public to scrutinize what they have reported.
About the law that regulates elections, I'll speak for the presidential elections. The law is already in existence. The presidential elections says that you have to account to the Electoral Commission your source of funds, how you use these funds, where they have. When you have to give them a report on where you got your money and how you used it. That's there. However, I always argue, as a lawyer, I know that laws are there, but I always argue that politics is usually above the law. We don't want to say it because it's not the right thing to say, but we have seen it that politicians will like to override the law in several instances. So here, the law already, you have to account recognize amount of money, and this is where I got it from. But of course, semantics of politics would override that law. Do I encourage it? Yes, legislating things is the solution to so many things. Because we have laws. We have laws. By the way, Uganda has a very good regime of laws. Very good. I applaud the Attorney General's chambers that comes up with it. Good stuff. However, we never respect these laws. Why? Because the disrespect of the laws comes straight from the makers of the laws, from the parliamentarians, from the executive. They make them beautiful laws and then they go and rubbish them. I encourage that we make a law. The law is there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. But what I think would be the best solution is not legislating about this world because it has failed. What we could do is to have a bipartisan Uganda where we have only two political parties, where these political parties support financially their candidates. Two political parties. So we have only two people running. Why do we have a long list of independents like me running? The reason some of us are coming to run is because the government has failed to think that government has failed to selfless about stuff. They now want that they just want to further the agenda. They don't want to look at the betterment of Uganda as a whole. The ideal situation would be to have a bipartisan country where every candidate that we're having, the two candidates that we're having are coming from two political parties, and these political parties are financing their candidate. I think that'd be easier for us. And it would also be easier for the Electoral Commission. Because imagine, I have been to the Electoral Commission, they are dealing with several aspirants. They have to be checked, they have to be, so much has to happen. We are giving so much work to the Electoral Commission. Yet, if we had just one party in government and the opposing party checking the other, I think there would be some sort of order. Let's not amend the constitution too much to allow for things like Mirembe Fiona running for who are not even qualified, who really shouldn't be running for president, are coming out to say now we want to be president. The politicians should now know that there is something really wrong with what they're doing.
Interesting. Fiona, allow me to just point out something here that we don't have a law. We don't have any requirements in the law that are compelling political parties, compelling candidates to declare their sources of financing. And there's a gap in that. And even the Electoral Commission admitted that there's a gap in that. So we don't have that law yet. We don't have a law that is putting capping on how much money should be used. Neither do we have a law that is looking at reporting on the expenditure. There's still a gap in that area. What is in place is that they have put limits on how much you can fundraise and also the sources where you can pick your money from in terms of foreign entities. But beyond that, we don't have an explicit law that addresses those gaps. And probably that would be one of the areas that any candidate who is contesting right now, given the fact that all of us are decrying commercialized politics, should interest him or herself to address and level the playing field. But I like the fact that you push for, or you moot for, what you call representative politics, where you believe that political parties should be strengthened, and then it's the political parties that through them that leaders are elected. Although I also must point out that in a multi-party dispensation where we are, or at least where Uganda is, it's not limiting how many political parties should be participating. So that's the conundrum we are in right now. But as our time is running fast spent in 1 or 2 minutes, because we're about to get out of here, from your perspective, first of all, you are a youth. Probably you might be the youngest if you get nominated, and then you're a woman. Being a youth, being a woman makes you a very interesting case. How can we have many of you meaningfully participate in electoral processes? Because we know for a fact that most youth, most women, money locks them out. But even when they participate, they are used more of as political capital for others. How can we see that we have more women, more youth participate, offer themselves as leaders like you've done? How can we level the playing field to open it up for more people? 20 million is not little money. I would have loved to contest. I don't have 20 million. So you see, it's a barrier already. How do we address that gap?
Yes, the money is a lot. But me, I think if you haven't yet got the capacity to get the money, then possibly you're not yet ready. You know, even us we have really squeezed to get into this race. We have really squeezed under normal circumstances. Mirembe Fiona would not be contesting for the presidency at all. I have no business contesting for the presidency because really, what do I know at age 32? But if our leaders are busy behaving the way they are behaving, then we have no choice. It's like your father being home, coming home drunk, beating your mother, and insulting everyone around. You know, you come up and say, if I am going to come aid my mother to get out of this. You can't be doing that. So basically, that's what we are saying. Remember, if you're not age 32, I'm actually annoyed at the politicians who are pushing. I have no problem really. When I walk into my office, I am happy. The politicians are doing their job. I should have stayed that way. You know, but now for them they come and do whatever they are doing, and then we have a problem because we are going to give birth to children in this generation, and our children are going to find this road. So what are we saying? You know what, Daddy, it is now too much. Even if we are not yet of age, we are going to come and. But back to your question, where you say, how do we increase the participation of women and the youth? I am not one for sect. I am not one to categorize people. If you're a woman like me, I am because I'm a woman. People have told me to appeal to the gender vote, to the women vote. I don't want it. I want the Uganda vote. I don't want to be considered a woman. I don't want to be considered a youth. I want to be considered someone who can heal my country, someone who can bring something on the table. Don't look at me like that. Please don't pity me because I'm not for pity. Presidency is about being pitied. If you're a youth and you have not yet got the qualifications to be president, please sit down and work hard and get it. I don't think we should even make it any softer for anyone, because what I have seen while I was putting together my requirements for the nomination, it has been a hard task that makes you stronger and makes you harder. People insult you, people tell you all sorts of things, the naysayers also come along, they tell you how you cannot manage. You need that stuff if you're going to be president, because as president, people are going to insult you, people are going to disagree with you, people are going to say all sorts of things. I think the journey is very good. Let's not accommodate incompetent women. I think what we should be looking at is competence. I keep telling people, don't look at my age, don't look at my gender, don't look at how I look, don't look at the fact that I'm a lawyer, don't look at anything. Look at what I can do for my country.
Wow. That is Fiona for you, Fiona Mirembe. She's contesting for the highest office, and hopefully on Tuesday, she will be nominated as an independent candidate for 2021. elections. We are coming to the close of this interesting discussion. You'll forgive us that we've been having a couple of hiccups here and there in terms of connection. Fiona, what are your parting shots for anybody out there who is listening and saying, yes, finally we have a woman president 2021? What are your parting shots?
First, I would say, please don't look at me as a woman. Look at me as Mirembe Fiona, who is coming to change her country and heal the wrong. Secondly, I am saying that come voting day, vote for what you feel is right. Vote for what you feel is right. Don't vote for Fiona because you like her too much. Don't vote for Fiona because you know her. Don't vote for Fiona because she did something for you. Please vote because you think this candidate is the best for our country. I still tell people, if you think that Fiona Mirembe is not the best person for your country, don't vote her. That's as simple as it is. I am selfless enough to say that let's vote for the person who will take us forward. Let's vote for the who will secure the future of children and grandchildren. If you think that Fiona is that person, please vote for Fiona. If you feel like Robert Chagulanyi Honorable is the one who will take us forward, vote for him. If you feel like President Museveni is the one that will take us forward, please do. If it's Mr. Henry Tumukunde or Joseph, whoever it is, please vote for them. But for me, I'm telling you that I'm not petty. I have to steal from this country. All I would be coming to do is to be effective because you believe that someone will do something right for your country. That's all I can say.
Wow. Thank you so much, Fiona, for these parting shots. The golden nugget is vote for a person who can take the country forward. That's what matters most. We've come to the end of today's live broadcast. Catch you then next week, same time, and we take this conversation forward. It's been nice to have all of you. Have a nice weekend and a blessed new week for God and my country.
COVID-19 lockdown has left us poor. Money from candidates won't make you rich. Do not be desperate. Focus on issues, not money. Often money used in campaigns is dirty money. Do you know its source? Corruption, mafia, drug trafficking, human trafficking, theft from national budget, self-seeking foreigners, selfish businessmen, selfish money lenders. Don't abandon your duty. Elect quality leadership, not big spenders.